life. And so this kind of like idea of expression and, just being who you are and being happy to be who you are is something that's been ingrained in me. And really this social justice piece is also something that's been ingrained in me. And I from all the strong women in my family, both on my mom's side and my dad's side, it was always this feeling of like, making sure your presence is known in the best way possible. And so,
Yeah.
I am grateful to have the opportunity to use my voice because, as we both know, we've got elders whose voices didn't get heard a lot of the time. And so it's our job to make them proud now that we're able to have a voice and use it.
Oh, girl, I cannot wait to get into this. You are awesome. This is so beautiful. I love seeing young people come up and, taking the torch and just keeping it moving because it's so important to do that. And we'll talk about that a little bit later because we had that conversation a little bit earlier on. So now talk to me, how did you get started in radio? I know you actually said a little bit about that, but give me the real skinny.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting because when I came in as a freshman at Cal, I was that kid that was like, I want to see every club. I want to find out what is going to mesh well with me and my schedule and my interests. And so they had an info night for the radio station. And I had never, really thought about it outside of the fact that me and my cousins would play around with a tape deck when we were younger. I didn't think of it as like a career. And so I went to this info night and really I was just going to meet people and find out about the different activities on campus. And one of the students got up and talked about his experience. And he was like, yeah, I've been covering the sports events. And he's like, I travel with the teams. I get to go to wherever they play. We do different events outside of the main thing that he said was, I traveled with them to Hawaii and got to cover the games. And I was like, hold up, sign me up. I want to travel. I want to, report for this radio station. And so I went and they said, come down, you can get started with us. And so once I got started, they were like, wait a minute, you don't just get put on the travel team. Like you got to work your way up. And so I started with news and it was really exciting because it was an actual like college radio newsroom where like we would come in, pitch our stories. I mean, within the hour we're on air delivering those stories. And, it really was an exciting way to dive in. And so I decided my junior year, I was like, I'm ready to see where else this can go. And so I got an internship with iHeartRadio, and that internship started off in the mornings, and it was 6 a.m. in the morning. And a lot of people don't really want to get up, at that hour. And I was like, sign me up because I'm a morning person. I can do the morning show, get done, get back to Cal and do my classes. And so it totally fit my schedule.
That's
and
beautiful.
it actually helped me, further myself quicker because I was doing morning drive already. And that's like the prime time. And so I got to learn from some of the best that have been doing it for decades. I got to meet a lot of people, and not only from my radio station, but, iHeart actually owns 7 radio stations in San Francisco. So I was, working with folks like Renell, who has been a radio legend for so long.
Absolutely.
And folks like, Chuy Gomez, I was his producer for many years, his co-host for many years. It was just these opportunities and these chances to really be a sponge and like learn from these folks, and not only like learn from them in like an indirect way, to learn from them directly, like be right there, their right hand, through a lot of things was probably the most valuable thing that I could have asked for. And, producing the morning show meant that I would get up at like 3-4 in the morning. And sometimes because, we are a more youth oriented station, we would have events that went until 1-2 in the morning. And so I'd be at like a movie premiere or like, a concert, and then have to turn around and get right back up again as though I got 8 hours of sleep and, carry on a full show. So it was exciting. And it's something, made for someone in their 20s that could like bounce back.
You know what? I was actually getting ready to say that, when you're young and full of excitement,
right.
You can do all of that. You can party and then get up and do
it.
And then too, Plus you were loving what you do.
Exactly. And it never felt like work, right? Like it was always,
Yeah.
and that's the one thing that I always tell young folks that are kind of searching for that job or searching for that career. Find something that you love doing, because then it's not going to feel like work ever. And, like I said, I was in my 20s, and so I was not tied down. I didn't have responsibilities outside of, housing and feeding myself, right?
Right.
So it was really cool because, I would get to cover movie premieres and TV show premieres, and they would fly me out to like LA and New York. And I remember, getting an email saying, hey, can you fly out to New York tomorrow and cover the biopic for Notorious B.I.G.? And I was like, yes, put me on a plane. So they flew me out. I got to interview, the full cast, including, the gentleman that played Notorious B.I.G. Angela Bassett was one of our interviews. That was a powerful moment. And then the cool thing about that whole experience was that Notorious B.I.G.'s mom took all of us radio DJs on this big double-decker bus and basically took us on a tour of like where he grew up and where he went to school, and showed us, sat on the bus with us and did all this with us. And so it just really felt authentic, So, these types of experiences, not many people get to have. And like I said, it was during my 20s. And so it was really exciting to meet, artists and actors and, folks that I look up to or enjoy their work, and get to actually have a conversation with them and then bring it back and share it with our audience. I was blessed to have the opportunity to broadcast live from Disneyland a few times.
Oh, how fun.
For the inner kid in me was like, amazing, right? Because it's not just that you're broadcasting from Disneyland, but they literally shut the park down for you. So
oh, wow.
We did one where we were covering the Pirates of the Caribbean premiere. And so it was like all the actors from the Pirates of the Caribbean, other Hollywood stars. And then they shut the park down for all of us. So you'd be in line waiting for a ride with like an actor that you just watched on the screen. You're like, what is happening right now? Like, what is this? So, I'm like I said, a lot of hard work, a lot of crazy hours. And I got to do a lot of traveling. So during my 20s, it was like, okay, this is the time to do it and enjoy it. Yeah.
Okay, so then after all